Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Hereby call to order the December 2018 meeting of the Village of Tivoli Board of Trustees. Would you please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I regret Trustee Schneider could not join us this evening. And we will begin with a village clerk's report. Clerk Bruno, please.
Yes. So for the past month, 2 payrolls were processed. Laura Gail Tyler, our new deputy clerk, she attended 1 planning board workshop, and I might add too that she has just certainly hit the ground running in the office, and she's fantastic having her in there.
Great.
345 trash cans were sold. And on behalf of Laura Gale, Bonnie, and myself, we wish everyone safe and happy holidays.
Thank you, Clerk Bruno. Just popped into my mind that we're still selling a few parking permits, right? Though we're a month into our winter parking ordinance, but to avoid tickets on the streets between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m., you can get a $25 permit from the clerk's office, allowing you to park in any of the municipal lots. So take advantage if you need one. Moving on, we have 1 set of minutes from the November 21st regular board meeting. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Treasurer's report I have here. Out of the general fund, we spent $40,453.19. Out of the water fund, $28,517.01. Out of the sewer fund, $2,929.30 for a grand total of $71,899.50. Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The report is accepted. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And bills shall be paid. We have a zoning report. Trustee Azrati, please.
Yes, Mr. Fenton has been busy again this month. He has issued and reviewed 2 building permits, performed 3 building inspections, investigated 2 complaints, and issued zoning violations for 5 failures to remove garbage cans from sidewalks. If you haven't gotten the message that the garbage cans are to be removed within a day of putting them out, it may become apparent to you soon. And there's also a trial scheduled for numerous violations on our property. 3 municipal searches and no fire inspections. And it says, he says that fire inspections will commence in February of 2019.
Very good. Thank you, Trustee Azrati. We'd like to invite the public to comment on the agenda items. You have our agenda, sir, if you would like to talk about any of those items.
I already did.
We may talk about some of them again at the end, but you all set?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Trustees, we have the budget modification, which we talked about in the workshop. And this is helping pay for the water line replacement in front of Thoreau, and that bill. We're going to take it to the transmission distribution line out of the water contingency. And we discussed this in the earlier hour. Is there a motion to adopt the budget modification?
I move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. And I understand this is partially done, but will be completed in the spring.
Yes, we were hoping to get both water line replacements done before winter. Didn't happen, but so the Thoreau one is in place. I described it as 95% completed because we do have to come back in the spring and do some more road surfacing to meet the county's requirements for that. And then the one over by St. Sylvia's didn't even get started before the asphalt plants closed. All right, next we have a resolution approving the fire contract with the town of Red Hook.
Okay, I'd just like to comment on this. We are getting, for just operating expenses, a 2% increase annually for the next 2 years. And in addition to that, we're getting an extra slightly more than $5,000 to supplement the funds that we expend on capital expenses.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the fire contract 2 years with the town of Red Hook?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? I'll just thank Trustee Israedi for taking the lead on hammering out a good contract with the town, and thanks for all your time on this. We'll do a roll call vote. Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Israedi?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The fire contract is approved. Good evening, Mr. Walsh.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Next we have a resolution authorizing an insurance policy for volunteer firefighters. This is a new state mandate, state requirement, a noble one, I would say, and this is to offer some cancer insurance to volunteer firefighters. We're obligated as a municipality to have this in place by January 1st, and for those who risk their health, keeping the rest of us safe, it's an admirable requirement. We have, the board has shopped around and selected the lowest responsible quote that we found, and that was by Chubb, underwritten by Ace American Insurance Company. Is there a motion to approve the fire department cancer insurance?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Council, is there anything else you'd like me to touch on this?
No, I think you've covered it.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Israedi?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. And the coverage will be in place on January 1st as required. Next we have, here's my crosswalk. We have a resolution authorizing the crosswalk RFP. So trustees, we went over this in the workshop. We asked our designated village engineer, Crawford and Associates, to prepare a request for proposals. This is, it's got two parts. The first quote we're asking for is to repaint the 4 crosswalks at the Broadway Montgomery Street intersection, which were entirely redone a number of years ago, but the paint is fading. We want to keep them bright and safe. And then there's an alternate in here as well to repaint the crosswalks over by the entrance to Memorial Park on Pine Street. So if the trustees vote for this, then we will put it out and start collecting prices and hopefully pick a good vendor who will do this, obviously in the springtime, but we're trying to line some of this springtime work up over the winter. And I'm sorry, had I asked for motions already? I've lost track.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? I said my bit.
No, it would be very exciting.
Yes. And with that, we'll say a roll call vote, please. Deputy Mayor Major?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Israedi?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The RFP for crosswalk painting is approved. Our next resolution, authorizing the village to create the position of deputy court clerk. We have a village justice, we have an acting justice, we have a court clerk, but due to the sort of limited hours that they can be here and some of the other work that we want done around here, we were approached by Justice Clark about the possibility of establishing the concept is sort of an assistant, but the actual title will be deputy court clerk, someone who can fill in for the clerk completely if that's required, if she's unable to be in court, someone available for late night arraignments, and someone who can also keep additional office hours on another day of the week to try and provide better service to residents and people who have to come in and deal with the court. So whereas the Board of Trustees is desirous of creating the position of Deputy Court Clerk for the Village of Tivoli, now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees of Tivoli does hereby create the position of Deputy Court Clerk, which position shall be a part-time position to be filled by appointment, and that the position shall have an initial term commencing on the date of appointment and expiring on the first Monday of the month following the date of the next village election, with annual terms thereafter. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution creating the Deputy Court Clerk?
So moved.
That was Trustee Israedi, followed by Trustee Murphy. Any further discussion?
No, I think it's great to expand the accessibility for the village. So I think it's
Great, yeah. Currently, the court clerk is here on late sort of Monday afternoons, and this new person will have hours Thursday, Friday, somewhere in there to try and spread
And
it
as the
out.
judge said as well, being here for late night arrangements
Mm,
would be helpful.
very good. Deputy Mayor Major,
Aye.
Trustee Murphy,
Aye.
Trustee Ezrati,
Aye.
and I also vote aye. Resolution is adopted. We have next a resolution authorizing an agreement to accept a temporary skating rink kit for the Tivoli Memorial Park. I'm sure most people have heard about this. Greater Good Dynamics, a not-for-profit based in Red Hook, has been raising money for an ice skating rink kit, and we would like to allow them to place it in the park this winter, so we can all enjoy some ice skating and get through the long, cold winter. Hope it's cold so that we have ice in the rink, right? Yeah. Clerk Bruno, I recently, just in the last hour, sent you an agreement letter that was finalized in the workshop. You'll find it in your email,
Okay.
and that's the letter which is referenced in this resolution. Whereas the Village of Tivoli has received a proposal from Greater Good Dynamics to lend the village a temporary skating rink kit for use in its public recreation program at Tivoli Memorial Park. Whereas it is in the best interest of the Village of Tivoli to enter an agreement with the donor for such use pursuant to a letter agreement, what I just referred to, the form of which is on file with the village clerk. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees as follows. The mayor, or in his absence, the deputy mayor, is hereby authorized and directed to execute a letter agreement between the Village of Tivoli and Greater Good Dynamics in substantially the form on file with the village clerk, with such changes as shall not materially affect the substance thereof, and that the resolution shall take effect immediately. Is there a motion to authorize this agreement accepting the temporary skating rink from GGD?
I move.
That was the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Murphy, any further discussion?
Bring on the cold.
Bring on the cold. I just want to say, thank you to GGD. We're excited about having a partner to add to the recreational facilities and recreational experience of residents and visitors to Tivoli. I hope everyone will enjoy it, take care of it, respect it, and follow the few park rules which will be in place. And I look forward to a great success with the ice rink. Deputy Mayor Major.
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Trustee Israedi.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The resolution passes. Two more agenda items. Let's see, we have Tivoli Fire Company officers for 2019. Tom, is there anything you'd like to say about this? Every year we, by motion, accept the decision of the fire company about who their officers will be. But if there's anything you'd like to add at this time, I'd love to hear.
Nope.
All right, well, we're very grateful for all these volunteers, and I'll just read it. The fire officers, Chief Mark Hildenbrand, First Assistant Chief Tom Chrissy Jr., Second Assistant Chief Jeff Coons, Captain Josh Coons, thank you, Emily. Captain Jeremy Moore, First Lieutenant Robert Stafiro, Second Lieutenant Philip Chrissy. Directors Ed Lynch, Ralph Torsha Sr., Josh Coons, Terry Martin, Tom Chrissy Sr. Fire Police Officers, Fire Police Captain Tom Chrissy Sr., Fire Police First and Second Lieutenants, those offices are open. Rescue Officers Captain Cheryl Hilbrandt, First Lieutenant William Sakal, and Second Lieutenant open. And the Company Officers President Tom Chrissy Sr., Secretary Gail Torsha, Corresponding Secretary Robin Bruno, Vice President Anthony Stafiro, and Treasurer Terry Martin. So thank you to all willing to serve Tivoli Fire Company, And that is there a motion to accept the Tivoli Fire Company officers for 2019.
So moved.
So,
That was trustee Murphy, followed by trustee Ezrati. Any further discussion?
No, I mean, a big thank you to these people who not only volunteer to help the entire village, but to take on this additional role. So
Absolutely.
thank you from the entire village.
Yeah, great, well said. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, congratulations to the officers. So we got some more good news in Tivoli. There's been a lot of good news this month. A month ago, we told you about the 3.8 total award grant, 3.8 million towards water and sewer projects. Yesterday, we were informed that the village of Tivoli was successful in 2 applications to the CFA. It's a state program called the Consolidated Funding Application. Our first application was for the updating of our LWRP, the Local Waterfront Revitalization Program. That's a planning document. Tivoli's had one, and it's from 1991. The Department of State comes around every so often and says, hey, yours is getting a little old, maybe it's time to update it. It's a large document, and it costs a lot of money to pull that off. I thought maybe you would like to tell us a little bit about the LWRP and what this process is going to be like to update it. I know you're involved in that
It is
in the town.
arduous.
Okay, let's hear more.
Well, like you said, the document is huge. It has lots of words, lots of maps, and it's a massive task to sort of go through it and update it and look at where we were as a community. You know, the Red Hook one, for example, you know, back in '95, and it's really it's fascinating as well to see what the goals were that were set back then and where the town is now. And it's also really important to have, you know, it's a great document because it talks about all of the resources within the LWRP and helps to or within the waterfront area. It recognizes the important resources and the historic value, the scenic value, the economic value, right? So it's giving you a complete picture. And it then is sort of a basis for what happens inside that area going forward. So if somebody comes along and says, look, I want to put a nuclear power plant on your shoreline, you know, it's a pretty quick scan through the document to go, oh, that's a terrible idea, and our LWRP pretty much says no. So, and then because this is on file with the state, you have that. It's a tool, right? Like it's a great tool and a great resource, and you know, maybe you want to talk about that with the
How it recently helped us, yes. So just a line kind of summarizing what you said. The update will identify, this is language from our application, the update will identify projects to attract and retain residents, encourage economic growth, address resiliency and climate change, and improve connections to the Hudson River. And you know, like ours in 1991, one of the big items in our LWRP said the village of Tivoli should turn towards the river and try and get some access down there. And of course, we did buy the land in 2010. So that's something identified in an older LWRP that needs to get updated because we actually achieved that goal that was outlined then. And you know, Amtrak has had a proposal around for a little over a year now with the Department of State to do some gating and fencing. We've talked about that here at other meetings this year between Rhinebeck, Rhinecliff, and Stuyvesant. And this is an instance where, what's an LWRP for? Well, because Tivoli was an LWRP community, we got basically a courtesy call from the Department of State that said, Amtrak came to us with this proposal that we're reviewing and we wanted to let you know about it because we see that you have an LWRP and you're concerned about that. Now, other communities in that corridor who had not yet pulled together an LWRP did not get that call. And I know they're very frustrated and they're working hard on getting their LWRP together, but that's an instance where it protects the community.
Right, and the other thing is that, you know, because access is such an important part of the 1995 Red Hook LWRP, and Tivoli has the only legitimate access point in the town, that puts us in good stead for not wanting to mess
And
that up.
every time we introduce a zoning change,
Right.
we reference the LWRTP. We insist that whatever the zoning change is, it's consistent with that local waterfront plan. So it's a guidepost.
Well, it's a great big
Reference.
picture document,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's a great big picture document, and I think to generate it, there will be some sort of visioning forums held in the village where residents will be asked to come in and sort of, we have a community discussion about what are we, what do we want to be, where do we want to go, what sorts of things would achieve those goals. So this will take months, and it's also not cheap to do. There are attorney fees, there are planner fees. So we were awarded, I don't think I got around to the prize, $49,875 to cover the cost of that project. And we had a second, and I also want to say before I leave that, thank you to Brandy Nelson at Ty and Bond who wrote that grant application for us, and she's amazing. Ty and Bond has been great, and we're grateful that she helped us be successful in that grant award.
You should probably tell people to sit down before you announce the next one.
Okay, I know I'm sitting down. Okay, so we tried for this last year and didn't get it. We tried for it a second year, and I'm pleased to announce that we did win $343,500 under the CFA for the shoreline stabilization of our waterfront parcel. This is also a Department of State grant. Trustee Israedi is celebrating because some of us have been on that waterfront revitalization committee for a very long time. I was on before I was even a trustee.
And I was there when I was on it when we actually purchased the waterfront, as was our friend Attorney Shaw. And at that point, which was 8 years ago, there were people on the committee who had been working on it for 20 years. And what's really fun about that is that when Amtrak showed up and started distributing rail, trail, garbage and moving electricals and so forth, we were able to say, hey, folks, this is ours, not yours. And that felt really good because that meant that there were, whenever things happened, that large enterprise has to come and talk to us about how they're going to do it.
And the building of an eventual park, we noticed some years ago that while we're sort of trying to pull that all together, there's a lot of erosion down there, and that shoreline is unstable.
And we'd like to have a park
Yes.
left.
So here's some language from our grant application. The Village of Tivoli will stabilize the shoreline along its Hudson River waterfront. This project will reduce further erosion with bioengineering and plantings to preserve riverfront access, leading to the future development of a waterfront park. The project advances the village's local waterfront revitalization program and furthers their vision to achieve public access to the Hudson River. So, not winning this grant last year was a real downer. It's sort of the only place we can pass through to move towards the park. And this year we were successful. This grant has a nice match. A lot of grants are 50-50. This is 25-75. So they're going to cover 75%, and we have to come up with a 25% match. Those are nicer terms. And this grant was written for us by our designated engineering firm, Crawford & Associates. I want to thank them and the whole staff, and in particular Donna Verna, who wrote this grant and tweaked it after the first year and brought it home for us on the second year. So congratulations, Tivoli. That's
Two great things.
So in 2 months, we've received in grants,
4.2 million,
and that is per capita.
a little under $4,000 of value per resident.
So this is
Huge,
It's huge.
it's huge.
It's huge.
It lets us do things with, well, our state taxes that are coming back to us. It's, you want to say it's other people's money, but it's not really. So anyway, very, very pleased about that, and we'll have a lot of work to do. When you win those grants, it's a lot of work. And I wanted to add a final motion on the agenda. Because the Christmas holiday is falling on a Tuesday this year, I asked the board what they thought about closing the village office on Monday, giving our staff a 4-day weekend, and I just don't think there's going to be a whole lot of business on Monday this week. So it's just a sort of fluke of the calendar, but I would ask for a motion to close Village Hall on Monday, December 24th, 2018.
I move.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion?
Merry Christmas.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will inform all village staff and enjoy a day off. Well deserved. The next board meeting will be held on Wednesday, January 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m., preceded by a workshop at 6 p.m. here at the historic Watts de Peister Hall. We have a regular board workshop on January 9th at 7 p.m. Those are held in the mayor's office across the hall. Moving on to committee reports, Trustee Ezrati, please.
Okay. It looks like we are not using the ball lot well. This is probably in conjunction with the fact that this well may be closed when we have the shift in the water tower. The McKnight well was pumping for most of the month above 10,000 gallons per day. The number 2 Potts West well was pumping just for 3 days of the month, and the 5 Potts well was off. The 4 PE and 10 PE were pumping for the entire month at about 20,000 gallons a day, and the Woodmark well at about 25. So both of those wells were pumping at slightly higher pace than they usually do. The result was water tower heights of 165 to 169 feet, except for, throughout the month, which means it's in good shape, and it looks like there were no water main breaks. 2 samplings occurred. Now to the really important stuff, which is how much rain did we get?
7.
You know, you're really close. It was
Wait. They had a chance?
5.8.
5.8.
5.
This is the trick. See, halfway through this month, Jimmy stops measuring because we got snow on the 16th, and then after that, traces of rain. But in that half a month, it was over 5 inches.
But how much over 5?
You can't count. We had snow. It just the whole game gets thrown off.
Yeah.
It's like 0.8.
It's been wet. Yeah, 5.8.
Yeah.
It's like
I measured the snow.
7, 5, 6, just under 6 inches.
Alright.
So,
More rain.
okay.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Ezrati. Anything else?
The LoSAP program, we will be getting points from Tommy shortly to get started on
Just
on
got the
that
package.
project. We are concerned about the fire support, and we will be engaging in a committee to talk about capital needs, because I know you're talking about a new truck in 2020 when the pumper is paid off, and also bay. And so those are issues that we will be engaging with, and we will engage Red Hook in that discussion.
Thank you, Trustee Ezrati. Trustee Schneider's not here. Anyone want to read the charge volume summary report? Good.
Okay, total money collected and remitted to the state comptroller, fines $1,615, surcharges $1,006, civil fees $140, and that makes a total of $2,761. There were 13 charges received, 11 charges disposed. What is VTL?
Vehicle traffic law.
Vehicle traffic violations, 16 charges disposed.
All right, thank you very much.
Punt.
And Deputy Mayor Major, you want to continue from there?
Sure.
What you have?
What I've got, well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet for the holidays, but Winterfest was awesome. It was so much fun.
Really good.
It was super well attended. There's so many highlights every year. The elf mayor and our fabulous and all-knowing Santa. Exactly. Who knows, when you've been naughty and nice, and what your favorite song is, strangely enough. So there's a ton of thank yous. Thank you to the board for doing their thing, and to Historic Red Hook and the Tivoli Library for partnering up with the board for the Theater on the Road production of A Christmas Carol, and to the Tivoli Library Board for cooking tasty things as part of the Christmas Carol smorgasbord, and to Tivoli Bread and Baking and the Corner and Santa Fe for contributing food to that event, and to Gary Tomorrow, and of course the fire department for the space, for the crafting and the hot dogs and all that. The use of the kitchen is awesome. It's so great to have that many burners all at once. And thank you to the Harris Smith Post of the VFW for offering their space, the craft fair, to Clerk Bruno for just killing it as always, to Tom Chrissy and to Ralph Torsha, and I'm no doubt forgetting people, and
The singers?
the singers, of course, the St. Paul's Choir. That was
A wonderful addition.
totally
And I
awesome.
hope that will come back next year,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
That was really
Don't forget
great.
about the horses.
Oh, and the horses, yes. Tom Hansen comes all the way down from, Rensselaerville, Schuylerville, somewhere way the heck up north, with ginormous horses, and, I think kids and adults alike love that. I mean, our moms both went crazy for it.
Please the mothers.
Please
Yes.
the moms, let's keep the moms happy. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to next year. The planning is already begun.
Great.
I was
Then you're
only-
gonna take the lead once again. I'm
Because
so
no
glad.
one's gonna fight me for
You're
it.
just doing a better job than anyone, and this year was testimony to
Oh,
that.
I don't know about that, it
I
takes,
have an
Thank you,
anecdote.
Emily.
It was a classic Tivoli event, even though I was only marginally involved. I did get the text message call for more tomatoes
the night
for the
before.
chili the night before, and that is the standard practice. If you need something, you just put out a multiple text message and someone will provide.
yeah, no, it takes a village to do this, and we definitely, Pete jumped in the kitchen for a while, so.
No, I did not. I had a couple hot dogs.
Oh, well, I
You were
asked,
hanging around
I
having
asked you
chili
to, and
dogs.
you
Yeah,
said
I
yes,
hang
so that
around.
counts.
Well, I want to thank the guys for the lights.
Absolutely,
The light-
DPW for
right.
doing the decorations, for sure.
And after all those thank yous, thank you for putting it together.
Oh, no, it's a group effort, so. I have one announcement of an event which is both historical and Tivoli related, so two great tastes that go great together. On January 13th, which is a Sunday at 3 o'clock, there's going to be a talk at the Elmendorf Inn by Sally Dwyer McNulty, who is Emeritus Professor and a Historic Red Hook board member. She's doing a talk called Gender, Religion, and Rural Life, Reconsidering Dorothy Day and the Catholic Worker on the Land.
Yes.
And she has been just diving deep into Dorothy Day's story, and also talking to a lot of Tivoli residents and Tivoli former residents who, were involved with the Catholic Worker, witnessed the Catholic Worker.
We're Catholic workers.
We're Catholic Worker. It's a huge part of Tivoli history at a time when other sort of long-term Tivoli institutions were disappearing, right? Like you have the high school closing and the railroad station closing, and Ward Manor was closing at the same time. So, in a way, the Catholic worker became part of the community, filling a void. Just a interesting kind of interweaving there that continues, and also I think sort of adding to the I don't know, the sort of crazy quilt that is this village. So January 13th, 3 o'clock.
Thank you. At last month's meeting, I told you about 2 projects that we didn't get finished. Well, they got finished. I'm so pleased. The first one is our ADA ramp at the firehouse. It's all done. It's got the matching rails, which look great against the beautiful color of our firehouse. You know, it took a long time, but we got it done, and I think we're very pleased with it, and I know the fire company is as well. And also, smaller but dear to my heart, the hydration station. Woo! The water fountain downstairs is now operational. It's more than just your, high school hallway bubbler. It's got one of those, motion-activated bottle ports, and it counts the number of plastic bottles we're saving. So it's operational. Go try it out. It's got real Tivoli water inside it. It's pretty nice. So. We want to wish everyone a happy holiday and a very happy new year. I want to thank the trustees and the whole staff for 2018. I think it's been a great year for the village of Tivoli. We've outlined what we need to do, and we've secured a lot of funding to do it, and we sort of have our work cut out for us in 2019. But I want to express my appreciation for what we've all been able to achieve in 2018. And on a sadder but also, I believe, a sweet note, we are going to adjourn tonight's meeting, and in a sense the entire year, in memory of Claude Potts, who, known to all, he passed away earlier this month, and I'm very pleased that with the county we were able to dedicate a stretch of Broadway, Claude Potts Way, a few years ago, and that Claude was here for that and cut the ribbon himself, and it was great. And I wanted to make sure I didn't forget that, so I skipped right over public comment, which I will now go back and do, and we'll remember Claude again at the end. So, floor is open for public comment.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Back to the fire department cancer insurance thing. The questions that I was talking to you about yesterday, did you find out about those?
No, we'll have to call the state and interpret those things. I don't know if perhaps council knows. So something, they were saying interior fighters?
Yeah, they're saying that 5 years of service, interior firefighters, the qualifications, interior firefighters, previous 5 years of fit test, that's when they take the mask and you breathe into the mask and you see you breathe and how that goes along. And the other question was, prior to coming into the fire service, physical, whatever, that you're cancer free. Now my question is, how the hell are they gonna do all that?
So
first of all, somebody came in 40 years ago, 50 years ago, still a firefighter. We didn't do that 40, 50 years ago. You sucked in the smoke and you did what you did. So I don't know how they can do this with this law.
I really don't know. This is new legislation. So,
Yeah.
You know,
I'm the way I'm reading it, somebody didn't do their homework. Not like you guys, but the state. Somebody didn't do their homework, or they're going to say, as his grandfather did.
yeah.
I mean, I don't understand the law too well on that thing, because it's, it's like really confusing. We only started doing physicals like maybe the last 7 years, 6, 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Fit testing maybe the last 5 years ago we did that.
Right.
Prior to that, there was no such thing. And then the other thing is rescue people who literally don't go into the building, interior firefighting. They're on the outside, they're sucking in just as much smoke as the person that's inside the building from the fumes from the vinyl siding and everything else that's burning. That's why I said this law doesn't make too much sense here. But then again, they got that other one down in New York City that if you were in the area and 9/11 and you get cancer and you're covered under some bill, I mean, they got so many kind of crazy things here. I just don't want, you're buying something and then you're gonna find out later down the road if it happens that it's not gonna cover anybody.
So I think they're required to cover the insurance, and so they're gonna have to purchase a policy, and they're gonna be, you know, Jeanette's helping them do the diligence to make sure that the policy covers what it needs to cover. And I think you have fair questions about what
Yeah, I mean,
legislation
so we
is
need
supposed to do,
I
but
was
our
wondering
guys have
about
been here 40, 50
HIPAA
years.
violations anyway, that, I mean,
I just don't understand the wording of that thing, where that's why we didn't get into it and just say, oh, this village take care of this thing. I don't understand it that well. I mean, if I read the requirements,
Well, there's probably someone we can call or a place to go with facts, you know,
Yeah.
frequently asked questions about, 40 years ago, I don't know if I was screened to make sure I had no cancer when I joined.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
I'm sure that those questions
That
are out there.
doesn't make any
so
sense.
it's pre-existing condition, I don't know, there's a lot of problems with that part of it.
I just want to be aware. And get
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I may even contact FASD, New York State
Sure.
Fires Association.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And say, hey, you know, want to explain this a little bit more to us, because to me, it doesn't sound like it makes much sense.
By the way, thank you to the fire, thank you personally for getting all that information to us, because we needed that start dates and
Right.
then who was active and all of that, and we needed it in a very short period of time, so I really
That's not an
appreciate
issue, we have all that
your
stuff
help.
with the thing, it was like I said, is after reading the law, reading that FASD thing, and reading the requirements, it don't make too much sense.
Mhm.
I just don't want to come up short down the road here.
Other public comment?
Oh, thanks for the rant on
I
Oh,
think
yes.
it's
And
great
they-
though that
they-
firefighters are getting that insurance, especially volunteers.
First we heard of it was when they said it's a law.
Any other comment from the board? All right, with that said, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn in fond memory of Claude Potts.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas all.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Pete.
Christmas, Pete.